Rock City Networks and The Push coming to you from Face the Music 2010, and a man that needs no introduction apart from Mr. Carl Cox is joining me on the couch. How are you, sir?
Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, really good.
Excellent. Now you've just come out of a keynote interview with Mr. Lars Brandl, who was actually facilitating that. How was it?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I don't get an opportunity to do these kind of things that much, based on most of the time I'm working at night. so here we are in the daytime, Saturday afternoon, and we had a really good amount of people downstairs interested in what I had to basically say, based on my career and life as a DJ and an artist. That after 30 years, I get an opportunity to actually talk to a few people about that.
Yeah.
So it's, my music has always done the talking for me most of the time, but here I am on a one-to-one with Lars and people that was genuinely interested in the reason why, I suppose.
Yeah. Now, what were a lot of the key points or key, parts of your career that Lars focused in on?
He focused in quite a lot on how I started, which is always a very good starting point, of course, because I wasn't really handed a set of 1,200 turntables and a bunch of records and here you go. It was way before all of that. So my whole learning and of understanding about performing as a DJ came way before DJs were DJs. So I was very fortunate to be a part of the forefront of that. So I was able to elaborate quite a lot on how I started, and then based on my progression as a DJ with technology, from turntables, vinyl, the sound of the analog, into the digital age, into CD players now, into computer now, to flash drives, how I've been able to adapt to that change, and when did that happen? And for me, it more or less happened around about 2004, 2005, where the vinyl industry started to hit the brick wall. So no more new music was coming out, but also the birth of Pioneer, in the sense of the new CD player, the CDJ 1000, was a revolution, and still continues to be a revolution today, of which I'm still very much a part of that. So a lot of people was quite interested between the transition of that and, of course, my own music, what I've made and created and the remixes that I've done, and working on my fourth artist album as well. It just feels like I've just been working. Well,
it looks like you've been working, mate. I just had a look at, your dates recently. I mean, you were playing in New York, you played in Brazil, you're everywhere. It must be good. And
the thing is, I've always enjoyed playing to people. I've always enjoyed, getting out of my seat, getting on a plane, going to a country that I'm not normally used to playing in, and then basically getting a bunch of people there that are kind of waiting for a Carl Cox set in the sense of where I'm at now, and I've been able to do that on the platforms that I've been on. In a sense of events. I mean, the last event that I was at was in Buenos Aires, before I came back here to Melbourne, and I was able to play in front of nearly 20,000 people, purely based on that. I created my own Carl Cox Arena. It was amazing. A party called Creamfields, and then before that we was in Sao Paulo and doing a big event there called Ultra Music Festival, and then I was before that I was in Montreal and playing in Toronto in clubs. It's just, I look back on all of that over the last couple of months just thinking, my God, I've been everywhere, and here I am today.
Yeah. Now, as far as creating your music and your work is concerned, do you do any of that on the road?
That's a good question. I basically create the concept of new music. So if I have an idea in my head, then yes, I'll try and get it down out of my head onto something. And Ableton is something which I'm able to utilise that in the sense of what I can basically imprint as something which I could take with me and then put it into a bigger studio and to see it flourish from that point. So I've made quite a few tracks on the road, but half the time it's sort of to do with mastering and how it sounds in the end, and most of the time it sounds crap. so to really have the ideas first and then take it into an elaborate studio and then get it to sound good is always the key.
Now with your music, when you are creating it, do you have spillover? You pick tracks for an album or a release, I guess. Where do the leftover work sit? and how many are there? And what the hell are you going to do with it?
Yeah, that's true. And I do get back to one or two things. I mean, some of it I'm just like, ditch it. You know. Some things I just think that's really amazing. And even if it's just like a chord progression or something like that, you can still have something to latch onto and still create something from that. So I'll try not to ditch everything in some ways. It takes a little bit longer to get back to them in the end. I mean, my last album that I made was in 2006, which was an album called The Second Sign. So all the music that I made outside of The Second Sign, it's just been sitting there doing nothing. And so 4 years later, I was able to now create this new album out of the old bits of the last album and beyond itself. So I try not to waste anything. I mean, a good idea could be something which may not sound good now, but it may sound good in the years to come. So I will always be able to have the ability to make music based on the small kind of snippets of things that I've done in the past. But then sometimes you should. If you've done it in the past, you should leave it in the past and move on. So
Is there anything that you create that may not necessarily come under a Carl Cox label, where you might want to go under like a moniker or a different name?
Yeah, well, I have actually done that. I use a pseudonym called Stone Circle, but then underneath it in small print, produced and mixed with Carl Cox sort of thing, And then people go, oh, Stone Circle, and I haven't actually done that for the last. I would say last 6 years under that, but I've actually decided that I want to make a lot more club tracks, so therefore going under Stone Circle. Because what I don't really want is people new Carl Cox track, because every time I put a new Carl Cox track out, the expectations are so high, it's ridiculous. So under Stone Circle, it just be something that's around, and if it's produced and made by me, in the sense of small print, then people look at the track first rather than the name of the person that's made it. I've learned a lot by that.
Excellent. Carl, I've always thought of a name that you could go under, and I just think it'd be fantastic. Have you ever thought or considered releasing some material under the name Pablo Hassan?
You know what? That's food for thought, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I might get sued by him. I don't know.
No. Well, I mean, you got to ask first. But,
Pablo Hassan. That would be funny because they will see it and they go, "That's Carl Cox." That's hilarious.
No pressure there, though.
Yeah, there isn't. Is there? That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I might take that up. I don't know.
Well,
at least I know where it comes from.
Hey, just have a think about it anyway. Because, I think people would like to see him return at some point in time.
Well, it could be a possibility because there is talks about maybe doing a human traffic, part 2 of it, and basically because the story was told in that initial movie up to a point, and there was so much stuff that wasn't used in that movie. They're maybe looking to piece all the unwanted stuff, which was already good, and then to make a sequel to it. But then sometimes you should just leave it alone. It was done. It was made. It was fantastic, and it got well received.
And a great compilation as well.
Yeah, Pete Tong done an amazing soundtrack to this, and it wasn't easy. If you can imagine all the music that came out around about that time, it was extensive.
Yeah.
So to be able to just basically pull back on what was relevant. I mean, for me, one of the best moments of the movie was where one of the guys was walking across the street and they had a camera coming from the tall building going all the way down to him, and the soundtrack was Belfast by Orbital. It was just amazing, and seeing the sunrise while all that was going on was just awesome.
It's incredible. I think the only other soundtrack from me that would match up to that was the compilation for the Hackers movie.
Yeah.
I think that was a great electronic compilation as well.
And I was very happy about that because I had a track on there also, which I was very happy about. And also, Angelina Jolie is one of her first movie roles too.
Definitely.
So that movie wasn't one of the best movies in the world for sure, but it meant a lot for a lot of people to actually tune their ears into what the soundtrack was about.
Yeah, definitely. Excellent. Now we won't keep you too much longer, Carl. You've got just quickly. You've got you've just been named the music the dance music ambassador for Mixmag, and you'll be doing blogs monthly. Is it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, there's always something going on in my life which causes a little bit of interest to what's going on in the rest of the world, and we did our first one on the latest edition, and I like to think we pieced it together quite well because it's quite difficult to put 4 weeks worth of things that are happening into half a page. Yeah. But so far it's been well received, and people have been interested to see what I do from a pen to paper point of view, and hopefully we can continue that.
Excellent. All right, Carl. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on the couch, mate. It's been fantastic to get a bit of your time, and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Enjoy Face the Music, and it's a great thing you do, giving your time coming down here and allowing younger kids coming up to actually see how it works, and
Yeah, absolutely.
and learning lessons as well.
Yeah, it was amazing to see that how people were quite attentive, because they don't have to be. It's not school,
Yeah.
But it's just nice that people takes an avid interest, and hopefully this could progress onto something elaborate, which is necessary, I think.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you so much, Carl. It's Carl Cox here for Rock City Networks and the Push It Face the Music 2010.